Hey there guys, Brad from Canine Services again with another Ask Brad, and today is we're going to look at a little bit about clickers and what clickers are. So what is a clicker is the question. Okay, so a clicker is a mechanical marker. I'm not going to click this now. All a clicker is a button with a steel element. You press it and it makes a loud clicking sound. I'm not doing it because 3 feet away there are my dogs and I have a deal with them that when they hear the click they get something. So using a clicker is what is known in psychological terms as a reliable predictor. Hence the reason that if I click, I'm going to give my dog something. Now, we use a clicker in dog training by conditioning it. And when we say we condition it, what we do is we create the clicker as a reliable predictor of something that the dog really enjoys. Most commonly, the use of food. The giving of food to the dog as a result of this sound happening. And when the sound happens, the dog doesn't have to do anything to get it. Okay, this is classical conditioning. So stimulus equals outcome. Click, food. Doesn't matter whether I click and the dog turns his head 15 degrees to the right, I'm still going to give him food. So when we're doing that, it's very popular to train with clickers. This is what I'm trying to say. And there are some big mistakes that we see student trainers making and even professional trainers making that I'm going to point out to you. Now, I wear a vest, so I only have to go into my pockets here. A lot of people wear treat pouches and that's fine too. Then of course you've got these tremendous DTown hoodies which are made by a friend of mine, Forrest and a couple of business partners, and they're distributed over here by some other friends of mine, and they've just got pockets on a hoodie. You can use whatever you want, but the bottom line is this. The first thing, if you want this cue to have power, if you want this marker to have power, to mark a moment in time for the dog when its performance produces that great outcome, this needs to have all the power. So let me show you 2 things that we typically see that steal power from this marker. Number 1, we see people operating like this, asking their dog to do things with their hand behind their back. You know what? The dog understands that if the hands aren't behind the back, it's not going to hear the marker, whether it's a yes verbally or a clicker in this case. This is a reliable predictor of the marker coming, okay? Whether or not those dogs respond to the same marker given with their hands by their side or their hands behind their head or whatever is to be seen, but typically speaking it doesn't happen. The other thing that we see people doing all the time, and this is largely a function of people trying to train well, in other words, as they're developing a certain skill in their dog, they're trying to reinforce early and they're trying to reinforce often. The thing that we see people do is this. Click. Click. So what you'll find is that the dog actually watches the hand going into the pocket. The hand being in the pocket is a necessary part of that picture for the dog to respond to the click. But we couldn't say that the click or the marker has all of the predictive power there, and that's what we want it to have. So what that should look like is this. Click, reach. Now there's a ritual to feeding. Reach into the pocket, pull it out, turn a hand backwards, whatever the ritual is for you. There is a ritual to feeding. Dogs are very attuned to that. Dogs are very attuned to our body language generally. It's the largest part of their own communication in terms of interspecies relations, right? So they're very, very switched onto it. But we want this to have the predictive power. If you're doing something like this all the time, trying to elicit behavior from your dog, you need to be aware it probably constitutes poor training practice and probably robs your cues of at least part of their predictive power. If your hand is in your treat pouch when you click regularly enough, the dog is going to expect that. So if you look back over some of the footage of myself working with Snap, nearly always my hands are just down by my side, and I will often bend both hands in because this hand bends in to use the clicker. I'll often just close both hands like this, so it's very difficult for Snap to pick when Snap or Kana, when that marker is going to be applied. The marker has all the predictive power, which then makes me begin the ritual of reinforcement. even if it's dispensing a ball or dispensing a treat. So look, there we go. Done well, the clicker comes first in the chain of events. Done poorly, it's not the first event. It may not even be the second event, could be the third event, and you rob it of its predictive power. And remember, guys, once you understand that you're trying to create a reliable predictor, it's much easier to understand just how important the predictive power of this is in the ritual of reinforcement. So that's it for me for now. I'll go and get this on the interwebs. We'll see you next time.